All right, you guys, continuing on this project, the 66. Got a little leak on my pinion. I'm gonna have to probably pull this yoke. It's coming out around the splines. I'll just put some seal around that. I've seen that over the years where they do that. You have a washer there. I've seen some of them that have like a rubber backed washer, which I think would help that, but that's not a big deal. But this whole front end's together now. Got the brake system in place, got the hoses. I got a vent coming for that because I run my breathers out the top. You can kind of see the hole there. I run the breather out the top and run them way up up by the motor, so that, and I combine them all together out of the transfer case and the rear ends and transmission in order to get it all to breathe. There's one back here. Yeah, it's back behind this thing. I'm still working on mounting this piece here. This all in. It's I got it tacked in, a little more than tacked in, but this will be a anti-wrap. I think I probably showed you guys that. And I'm working on these rear shock setup, and it's inside shocks where they usually come off of this right here and go down to the axle there, but I'm inboarding them, and then I move my bump stops out, and then they'll be in here, and I'll be working on that today. And I'd like to get the engine set back in it. I'm going to drop it back on the ground and get it off these big jack stands and let the fluid drain away from that pinion so I can clean it up with some brake cleaner. Whoops, and seal it. But yeah, the new steering gearbox is in place. All the steering's back up on it. The new cover's on, and all the brakes are on, and everything's snugged, and I aligned the front end. Got to put in a few cotter pins and tighten up things, but I need to set my center, my steering, before I lock it all down. But yeah, this will go on the ground today so I can get the fluid back away from that pinion, and then pull that pinion yoke out, and then continue to weld on this. It's been pretty decent weather. We're only at 70 right now, and it's been raining. It's been real dry, so it's probably kind of nice to have the rain. And then I moved some of the stuff out of the way temporarily. Got to push that back and to do some work on this chassis, clean it up and paint it outside. But yeah, so we're working steady on this. I got my welder all dialed in now. I'm going to be putting the water pump, flywheel, and clutch on this today. Get this motor up off the ground. I'll probably put that front bumper back on it because it won't be in the way, so when I get ready to put the body on. And I'm still debating on painting that body. But then got the motor mounts for it, cross member for the transmission. Here's the water pump. I'm getting ready to put in that motor power steering setup. That's a distributor for that. It goes with that Edelbrock fuel injection. This one will be a little different than the 74 because the timing will be controlled by the computer. And this motor, being a late model motor, I'm putting a different water pump on it. That's for an earlier deal. These use what's called a reverse flow pump that has a serpentine belt, or at least a reverse rotation. But then, and that goes out the driver's side. Well, mine's going to go out the passenger. Well, that gets in the way of the timing indicator. So I'm going to make my own timing setup, because all you do with these is you set your timing, and then the computer runs it after that. So all you really have to do is know your top dead center, and then and get everything set and locked down. Then the computer takes over. But yeah, so I'll be doing that. Try to get all that done today. Keep you updated. Would like to have it where you guys see more how I do things, because like I say, I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I can pretty much do every single thing to these vehicles, especially these what I call analog vehicles that are more simple. But I understand it and learned it sometimes the hard way over the years. And started well when I was 8. And I think I'd said that before. And rebuilding small block Fords was my first motors I rebuilt, but I built a bunch since. Different models, makes, brands. And they're all, they all have their own idiosyncrasies. But my first engine that I ever built as a kid when I was about 10 or 11 was a 289, or basically what these are, 302s. And then I built bunches of these things. And over the years. So you learn, and then it's good to know. And I would recommend to anybody out there that's young, learn how to weld, learn how to do this stuff, because even if you don't do it for a living, you can save yourself a bunch of money by doing it yourself. And it's hard for people to fool you and tell you certain things are going to cost certain things. Certain costs are going to be involved with doing certain things, but what it is, when you know it, you say, no, that's not what it costs. This is what it costs. They'll tell you, you need a warranty because this compressor on this is $2,000. And you're like, well, it's $150 and I can put it on myself. And it's just things like that you run into. It's like these alternators. You can slap your own alternator on, your own water pump, things like that. Even on the new cars, they're not too bad. Maybe more technical, more involved, but you can still do some of that stuff yourself. There's still a lot of things you can do yourself. And you got good old YouTube University. So, but yeah, I'll get working on this. Just wanted to give you another quick update on this. I'll tie these together as usual, best I can. One of these days I'll figure out, or sit down and figure out editing and make it a little cooler, but otherwise you gotta listen to my boring voice talking and putting up with this. All right, you guys, see you later. Bye. Figured I'd do an update on this rear shock hoop that I built. It moves these inboard. I'm going to paint it, take it apart here and paint it, and then weld it in. I built brackets and then bolted this part in, but the part I got to weld in now still is this down here. I had to shrink it down. I'll run some gussets off of it and then paint it. That way I can use this, make it inboard. It's adjustable. I reduced that down and moved it forward so that these shocks would clear when I move them in and out. And I'm gonna start running the brake system. I figured I'd give you guys a quick update on this and show you, because it come out pretty good. You have to do a body lift to put this in. I don't know. To me, it's just a gee whiz gimmick, and see if it works. I mean, it does get it out away from this wheel, opens this area up big time. Probably lets it articulate more. We got to make sure the extension of the shocks is good and everything. I fixed the leak on this front yoke, so the front end is essentially done. And bolted the bumper down solid. And then today I'm going to try to get this engine buttoned up and set over in here. And if I do that, then I can start putting the tranny and transfer case in it, run the brake lines, fuel lines, and fuel tank, and the chassis will be real close. And this is about probably 4 or 5 days work total to get all this to where it is. The locker in the front, the brakes, all the new hubs, axles, things like that. The rear end I already did it and had it set up. It's got a posi in it with the big axles and seals. I've said that before. I got to decide if I'm going to cut these off. I don't know if they'll hit anything. I don't know, and because they're for the 66, they used to mount the rear shocks, and I'm eliminated that. But yeah, just a quick update. Bye. Hopefully these fans aren't too loud. I want you guys to see where we're at right now, progress on this. I got the transmission in. Changed up the exhaust. I had shorties on there. I went to these long tubes. They fit better. Those GT40P heads, the plugs go straight in, so you had to get a little different header for it. I don't know if it fits it right or not. I got the twin sticks on there. I got the transfer case on there. I had these drive shafts, new yokes put on them, and had them sized to where they belong so that it all matches. And then I'm running the brake system now here, and then I got these inboard shocks mounted, fabricated. I did them where they bolt in, and I got the bumpers, and then I running the emergency brake cables. Got the fuel tank sitting there, 23-gallon tank. I've got a skid plate on it, so it's protected. It'll sit up against the body And then but yeah, I'm still working on some stuff with the clutch linkage. I'm probably going to put Heim joints on it. I got them coming, and I got to do the snubber thing for the clutch, but it actuates now and does everything it's supposed to do really good. Then I'm putting in the proportioning valve and the brake system up here, and then I got got a dipstick I'm building for it. Set that over there so it ain't in the way. And oops, excuse me. And then got another harmonic balancer I'm putting on it. I got the distributor and all that on it, and then the thermostat. But yeah, I'm going to go to a different harmonic balancer that takes a 3-bolt. I went ahead and bought a 4-bolt. It ain't working. It's too thick. And I'm going to go back to this 3-bolt with a different harmonic balancer. I think if I remembered right, I had to do that. That's the water pump one. This is the 4-bolt, and it's real thick right in here. It's not working. But I had to do that with a Mustang I built with a crate motor. This ain't a crate motor, but with a later model 90s motor. I had to do that with a Mustang. I had to put a different harmonic balancer on it so I could use the V-belt setup. That's what causes this problem. But yeah, I got the suspension all in there, front locker, new steering gearbox. That'll be hooked to this pump and stuff. And then, like I said, the 5-speed AX15, 11-inch clutch and flywheel, and then drive shafts. And then here's how the torque arm worked out. Of course, when I raise it up, everything will shift. This will shift back to center. These shackles back here shift back to center when it gets weight on it. And then yeah, there's the rear inboard mounted shock setup. And you got adjustable holes. You can move it farther inboard. I think this is probably where it'll stay, because I still want suspension dampening. And then, but the biggest thing was I wanted to clear this area here for articulation and stuff. I still may cut these off. These are the old shock mounts. I don't know if the tire will hit that. I don't think it will, but I may cut them off just for aesthetics. But if you ever wanted to add a second set of shocks, since these leaf springs aren't too bad, you could probably put a second set of shocks right down through here and have 2 rear shock setups, but I don't think you'd need that. But yeah, I got 3 holes that are, you can kind of see where they're rotten. I got to weld plates in here and on the back. This is what they're supposed to look like. And those are both okay for the body mounts. And then then I can take and go around this. I can take and here's the problem I got back here. These 2 holes, I'll weld them. Show you guys that afterwards. But yeah, there's the chassis coming together. I'll have the brakes done here shortly, and then I start plumbing the fuel lines and lining everything up, measuring, getting all my distances, getting all my my axles centered, all those kind of things, get all this chassis done, clutch linkages, all that, and then set it aside. I'm using this. I'll show you the brake system. This thing so far is pretty trick. As you might have seen, I got it off Amazon for making brake lines. Kind of cool. So it's working out good. And then the body, of course, is here, and I got all the boxes out of it and used most of them. I just have a few little things left: the electrical, power steering, and brakes, and then fuel injection harness, and then of course the brake setup. And then that will be all of my boxes of stuff. And it'll be $10,000-$12,000 worth of stuff put in on these things. This part here, I'm going to fix the holes in the firewalls, clean this all up inside, and paint it all black in here and get it all dialed in. I've got hydraulic supports for the hood I'm going to put in, and that way you don't have to use this prop rod and just things like that. I've got the turn signals. Yeah, it's coming together. This thing's going to be finished here in no time. So I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update. The chassis is coming out real good. This is probably, I bet you, it's not bad. I mean, probably 80 hours of work, maybe 60 hours of work. I mean, I'm real fast with this stuff because I tend to, there's a little part staging area, but I keep my tools, after every single job, I put my tools away. So I always keep it where I can grab tools quick. And what I found was, and this is something just to pass on, if you keep everything very organized like that, a couple boxes showed up today, so they're in the way, but if you keep everything staged and organized, you can move very fast. Like a brake job, running all new brake lines on this, about an hour and a half. Putting in that rear end, rebuilding that, a couple hours. Putting in these new springs, doing that whole front end, 4 or 5 hours. It's just not that hard because, again, like I said in previous videos, it's analog. When you're in this stage, you have some fitting that goes on, that extra machine work. Like you have to grind out that for the bolts to fit. You have some lining up to do and some stuff here. I'll have to get the exhaust lined up right. And you get a lot of little things, you know, with your twin sticks, and then you're getting the, you know, plugs to line up properly with these headers. This is a Gen 3 alternator, which is not native to this old Bronco, but it's native to like this motor. Well, that's a 140 amp alternator. Then this water pump is, on these motors they use a serpentine belt reverse rotation. Well, this is a normal rotation, so it'll be a V-belt rotation. Same in harmonic balancer. There's a lot of little things that are only due to the modern engine, like no fuel pump because it's electric. This was a fuel injected motor from the factory. And then there's no hole in the side of the block for this clutch linkage for that bolt right there to go, so you have to buy this little adapter or make your own for this clutch linkage to work, because I wanted a standard on this vehicle just for fun. But so there's a lot of little things, you know, that you pick from scratch. And I moved these bump stops outboard, and that wasn't factory. And just in the inboard shocks, that wasn't factory. It's just so there's a lot of things. You're in this phase of the details, and that'll take a little bit longer because you're fabricating pretty heavy fabrication stuff. But yeah, that's this. I figured I'd put this together and get you another quick update, and we'll keep on going. See you later. Bye.